Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colynn Hlokoff.
And I'm Meridee Hlokoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colynn. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meridee?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colynn here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming back. Today, Meridee and I are talking about
your marathon. Really goals.
And I did a marathon. So this is pretty cool because I learned a lot and I'm still learning several days later. So yeah, I mean, a year ago, it was actually
wait.
Okay.
We gotta introduce this properly. So you guys, today's conversation is about goals, how to set goals, how to train for those goals, how the universe will provide you opportunities to give up on those goals, the community that you'll create by accomplishing your goals, mindset, discipline, and persistence with your goals, and the consequences and or celebrations of said goals. Now, the whole way this has come together is because Lynn did this insane fucking marathon. Okay, you guys, 43 kilometers this woman ran. 43. But to start, we did 3 kilometers just to get there walking. Yo, I didn't sign up for no marathon, and that 6 kilometers that I did to go there and back was more than I signed up for. But this crazy woman, we tracked her, and she literally did 42.6 kilometers in the marathon, 3 kilometers prior to the marathon, 8 kilometers the day before the marathon, 9 kilometers the day before the marathon. So this podcast is about setting goals and then going after them. Now, there was tons of ways that this could have gone different. So let's talk about where this goal came from, first of all, in your mid-40s, deciding that you're going to run a fucking marathon, okay? So first of all, where did this goal come from? Why did you decide to start this piece of it?
Great. Okay, so I went on vacation with a friend of mine, Joan Radford.
Running coach, FYI.
Running coach. And so I decided to go to Vietnam and Cambodia, and I had told her, you know, I had spent a lot of my life being more sedentary. I've always been rather active, but like now that I'm active, I was way less active. And I said, you know, I don't want to just continue to go on vacation and not like enjoy it by getting out and seeing more things. And I want to be active. And she said, well, come with us to Cambodia and Vietnam. So I was like, okay, great. So I did. And that was awesome. We did biking like 32K a day some days. We did kayaking, which was like 6 kilometers, which may not seem like a lot, but it was. We did hiking, like, and we went all over the place on these adventure tours, and we did two. And in the middle, we were in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. And we went one day to the War Museum. And I remember that morning, there was a group of us, and we were all sitting down having breakfast, and Joan wasn't there. And they were all talking about all these people. They're like in their 60s, maybe somewhere in their 70s, and they're talking about running marathons. And they were still like so active. And I trained for this shit, and it was nothing for them. And so I remember thinking like, wow, I want to be that active when I'm older. I want to be that active now. And they were all talking about how I didn't know, but they all started running in their late 40s. I didn't know you could do that. I tried to run in my 20s and I was like, fuck this. And I totally like, I bought the $200 shoes and I did all the things and I had shin splints and I hated it. And I couldn't get past 2 kilometers and fuck this. So I remember hearing them all and I was like, what? Are you serious? You started running when you were 48 years old? You ran your first marathon when you were 49? I thought it was so bad for your joints and stuff. And they're like, no, that's what Joan does. Joan's a competitive runner and she teaches you how to run.
Can I just
So
say that the people that are not watching on YouTube right now, like while she's telling this, my head is shaking hard fucking no. And I am into fitness, okay? But all of this is a hard no. She even said to me after the marathon, why don't we just train for a 5K? I was like, what fucking kind of crack are you on? No, this does not sound like, this is just not a me thing. That being said, it did inspire me. So continue. I am sitting here shaking my head no, though.
So we go to the War Museum, and I said to Joan, like, I didn't know that you taught people like in their 40s to run. I thought this was like, something that has been for their whole lives. And she said, no, 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 no. I was like, do you think I could run a marathon? And she's like, yeah, of course you could. Like, just so, yeah, of course you could. I'm like, okay, like, would you be my coach? And she's like, yeah, I would love to. That's amazing. We're gonna get you to fall in love with running. And I'm like, no, you're not. Because running is terrible. So that's kind of how it played out. I went home,
Tell
and
us about the training then.
so
What was the start of the training?
we started talking about it, and she said, I'll get you a plan, blah, 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 blah. And then my plan started in May of last year. And so it's May this year. And it was literally just get out and walk every other day, because that's how inactive I was. I did a lot of yoga. I mean, I was doing teacher training. It was May, I was doing a teacher training. She said, all you got to do, get up, run, walk 45 minutes every other day for the month of May. That's how you're starting. I'm like, okay. So I can do that. And I can tell you that some days I didn't even want to fucking do that. And when I was coming near the end of my training, I was like, do you remember when it was just walking 45 minutes every other day? So that's what I did. 1 month every other day. And then we started run training. It was 5K run training. I went literally like this. I'm telling you all, I was overweight. I have been overweight my entire life. And running did not seem fun, and I couldn't fucking do it. And so she's like, okay, your first run day, you're going to run for 1 minute. You're going to walk for 1 minute, and you're going to do that for 30 minutes. You're going to have a 10-minute warm up and a 10-minute cool down. So I'm like, okay, so let's do this. So I go walk for 10 minutes, and then I set my timer, and I'm telling you, I'm fucking running, and my timer is right here in front of my face, because the minute I get to one, I'm fucking walking. And then it would hit, it'd be like, oh my God, like I'm dying. I hate this. I'm never going to be able to do this. The whole time in my head, there's no fucking way I'm running a marathon. And the minute would hit, and I'd be like, oh, thank God. And I'd walk for a minute, and it'd go so quick. And I'd be like, no. And then I'd be like running and dying. And all I can think of, I would do that 3 times in 1 week. And next week, I have to do 2 minutes of running and 1 minute of walking. There's no fucking way. I can't even run 1 minute. Well, next week, I did it. And then the next week was 3 and 1. And then the next week was 4 and 1. And I was doing it. And then the next week was 6 and 1. And I remember we had a check-in, and I was like, there's no fucking way I can go from running 4 minutes to 6 minutes. That's insane. But I'm telling you, pretty soon I was running 10 and 1, which is what I continue to run. Honestly, I did my whole marathon 10 and 1 until the end, and then I kind of did a lot of 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. But at some point I was running 10 and 1, and then the next thing you know, I'm going from 5K training, which is nothing now. To run 5K is like, it's less than an hour. I can do that really quick, even with a 10-minute warm up and a 10-minute cool down. And I then started training hills. I started doing these form runs where I would like run really fast for half a minute, then walk for 1.5 minutes. And then I'd run really fast for 1 minute and walk for 1 minute. Then I'd run really fast for 1.5 minutes and I'd walk for half a minute. Like, I'm telling you, it's just like building up to the point where in the last little bit, I mean, I would have easy weeks, which was like maybe I would do about 15 to 20K in that week. But I would have hard weeks where I was training 5 days a week and I was doing core workouts and form runs and hills and run for fun for 45 minutes, but then run on Saturday for 3 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And so it was just like consistency. And if I ever missed a run, I would think, oh my God, I'll never be able to do the marathon, because I got sick a couple times. I got a couple injuries. I had to take 2 weeks off before the marathon because of my knee.
Yeah, listen to the bummed knee one. That was the start of her first opportunity to give up.
Yeah.
That was the start.
Yeah.
And then the day before we do 9K, and she's like, yo, I probably was supposed to rest yesterday. And we're like, shit. Okay. Then we wake up in the morning of the run. And I mean, my best friend came with me. She was up at 5 a.m. the morning of the run. Then Lynn was up at 6 in the morning of the run. I was not. I was like, you bitches are waking me up. I was up for 6:30. We had some coffee. Lynn had a breakfast. I mean, for being anxious, I don't know that I would have even been able to eat at all, but she ate her breakfast as best she could. And then we go upstairs, and y'all, I'm about to get graphic. She's like, oh my God, I got my period. And now she doesn't get periods like I get. Like, mine are so mild and so easy and so chill. She has endometriosis. So her periods are another level of crazy. They are heavy. They are painful. They come with all of the things. Okay, men, if you're listening, you may want to skip ahead 15 seconds. They come with the poops. They come with the cramps. They come with, like the heaviest you've ever seen bleeding. Like, it is another level of ick. Okay. And she woke up in the morning with just that and was like, you guys, I just got my period. So now she has this bummed knee. She's been taping it for 2 days.
My other knee started to hurt.
Yep. Both knees are now hurting. And her coach has told her, at the end of the marathon, everything sucks, period. Your body's going to hurt. All of these things suck. Basically, like, life sucks after a marathon. And she wakes up in the morning and had said, like, okay, so you guys track me, and then there might be a place where you need to stop and pick me up and all these things. Like, she even said to us, like, I don't want to be a quitter, but I just want to put it out there. Like, if my knee's not going, I might push through, but I also might choose not to. And we were like, listen to your body. Whatever your body's saying, just listen to your body and listen to yourself. And there was so many opportunities for you just to give up. Like, so many times. Now tell us about being on the run and the thoughts going through your mind while you're on that run to give up.
I mean, I can tell you that, like, on top of it, I haven't trained for 2 fucking weeks because we're giving my knee a break, because we're worried that I've got runner's knee and I'm not going to be able to make it. Oh my God. So I go, and in my head, I'm just like making peace with the fact that I'm probably not going to run this marathon. Like, I'm probably not going to finish it. I'm just going to go as far as I can. And you know what, Colynn, you're okay. And to come to that point as me, I think was like, I don't think I've ever done that before. I was like, it's fine. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to fuck my knee so I never walk again, because that's stupid. And that's like my old mindset of like how to do shit. So I just started running, and I remember she said, your knee's going to hurt. That's it. Like, but you're probably not going to do a bunch of damage. Just, if you're pushing it too far, listen to your body. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And you know what? I know that it's a timed marathon. And so if I haven't hit 30K at 4 hours, they're going to pick me up in a vehicle and I'm done. So I'm like, I'm just going to fucking go for it. And if I get picked up, I get picked up. It's fine. So I'm running and I'm at fucking 25K. I've never run that far in my life, even in my training, because I've been training in Costa Rica with fucking hills and heat and insanity. And so
And
I hit
her coach also told her, you won't run a marathon until you run a marathon.
Right.
We're training you to run the marathon, but you
Yeah.
don't actually run the 42K until you run the marathon.
Yep. And in my training days, one of the days I'm supposed to run until I hit 32K, but that was one of the days I missed because of my knee.
Yeah.
So the furthest I had run was 20 kilometers. I think it was just under 20 kilometers. So I'm like, and that was in 3 hours. So I don't know how
Less
I'm
than
going to
half.
do any of this. Like, holy fuck. So I just went for it and I'm running. And at 25K, the pace guy comes up and he says, listen, I'm the pace guy. I am walking, pace walking, run walking, an 8:38 kilometer. Keep up with me because if you don't see me anymore, then they're going to pick you up. So I'm like, oh God, okay. And he's fucking going. So I'm like, shit. And then he's past me. And I'm like, shit. And now I can't see him anymore. And then I'm like, I'm done. They're going to pick me up. I'm done. And so I keep running. And then another person comes up and says, like, you're doing really great. You know, I'm one of the like end blah, blah, blahs. You need to pick up your pace or someone's going to come and they're going to pull you off the course. So I'm like, okay. And I'm at 27K now. So I'm like, okay. So I just keep running. And I called Meridee. I look, my phone's almost dead. I've listened to a whole audiobook. I don't remember anything. And I'm like, I'm running away from the pace car and my phone's about to die. So just know I'm going to finish this fucking marathon. And so I didn't know if they were going to pick me up or what's going to happen because I've never done this before. So I keep running. And then this guy says, listen, I have the unfortunate job of moving people off of the course. We're going to be opening up the roads and there's a car behind me and they're going to come and ask if you want to be picked up, if you want to be. And I was like, I looked at him. He's like, because you can finish the marathon if you want. And I was like, what? I can't. Like, I thought there was no more choice. He's like, you just have to get off the road and go on the sidewalk, which, by the way, is like the sidewalks go like this, and then they go like this. And at 30K, that is fucking crazy.
That little tiny hump, so
That
for those
tiny
not
little
watching,
hump is
is
fucking
like a
insane.
giant, it's like climbing 4 stairs here for
Yes.
her at this point.
So I thought, holy shit, I can finish it. I'm at 30K. I've got fucking 12.2K to go. And I can do this. I can fucking do this. So the guy takes my bib. And now what that does is nobody can track me anymore. So at 30K, boom, I just stay right
She
there
just
at
disappeared.
30K. And everybody's like, are you okay? What's happening? But my phone was about to die. So the only person I was in touch with was my sister.
It was
I was
me.
telling her
I had
like,
to be able to find her
yep,
afterwards was the problem.
32K, 33K, so that she could figure out when my phone dies, how long I'm taking to go per K and that they can be there to pick me up. And anyway, so I keep going and the next thing I know, here comes the bus. And all the people that I had passed, they're getting on the bus and the bus is fucking full. And I remember thinking my feet hurt so bad. I could tell that I was getting blisters in different areas. My knee was definitely screaming at me. My ankle, both my ankles, both my knees, both my hips, my back, my shoulder at 5K went, by the way. And so the whole time I'm like, oh my God, the bus, like that would be so amazing. It's fucking cold. It's raining,
Raining.
fucking
It started
pouring on
raining.
me. And it's freezing cold because I'm not, and there it was. It was like this.
The light at the end of the tunnel, except the tunnel was like
And I was
forever
like,
away.
and I kept going. And I remember a cop came to me at one point and he said, you're at he's like, you're at 37 kilometers or 20, yeah, 32 kilometers or something. You have 7 kilometers to go or something like that. What are you doing? And I said, I'm gonna keep going. He's like, fuck yeah, girl. And he like pounds it, and then I had to go down and then back up, and then I was on the seawall, and I remember like I could feel something was in my shoe, and I was thinking my if I was a diabetic, my foot would fall off, and like what am I gonna do? And by now I'm fucked. Like I don't want to go. If the bus was there, I would have gotten on it by this point because I couldn't walk anymore. I was walking on the sides of my feet. I definitely had blisters everywhere. Like I was miserable. Miserable. That's all I could. I had to pee really bad. There was no porta
She
potty.
only stopped in this whole thing. She stopped one time. Now, I want to put out there that she has told me about so many things that I didn't know, which is why hiring a coach for any of your goals is
Yeah.
so important. Because she learned about, like, my best friend now has this like, oh, to my sister because she just did this insane thing. And now she wants to do it. But I was like, I won't let you do it without a run coach because like we didn't know about the sugar supplements that you take or the various things that you have to take or need to take in order to be able to run this without it hurting your body.
Yeah.
So just putting it out there.
What's beautiful is like there's been so many things that I've learned on this. Like when I first started and I was able to run, I started hitting a wall at 1 hour. I couldn't run longer than an hour, and I just kept being mean to myself. Like, this is because I'm fat. This is because I'm not a runner. This is because of all these things why I suck so much. And I had a client come who runs Ironmans, and she said, well, what are you doing for nutrition? It's like, what the fuck do you mean nutrition? Like, my coach had talked about nutrition. Meridee was talking about nutrition. I'm fucking eating. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you need to replace your electrolytes. I'm like, oh, I mean, that makes sense. And she started telling me like these salt tabs worked for me. And for me, that was the thing. The salt tabs, boom, those were amazing. And I tried other things, but it was like, I'm really glad that like the universe works so amazing
Uh-huh.
and that I'm open to it because when I heard that, I knew that's what I needed. And I started training with that and it was amazing. And then I heard, oh, do this, do this, do this. And I tried gels and I tried all this other bullshit. It was the salt tabs. So then I found out like, yes, if I take a salt tab every 45 minutes, I don't hit a wall. Now at 32K, when I hit my wall, I mean, I was taking stingers, which are basically like honey, straight sugar. I was taking whatever Joan had told me, don't try anything new on your tummy on training day. Make sure everything you've taken before. But by then they were handing out like things, and I was just like, okay, I will take it all. And I do have a pretty strong stomach, so I was able to supplement and keep going based on sugar and electrolytes. But some of these things, like, it's not common sense.
Yeah. Also, everyone there was like taking Tylenol or Advil or whatever. Like there was certain things they were taking. Like it was very interesting to see this whole thing go down. It was also very inspiring. I still am about a 98% hard no, but it was super inspiring to see it go down. And then, okay, so we got to kilometer 37. The cop came to you. You said, I'm going to keep going. And
I mean, I kept going. That was it. They told me, the race is over. So when you reach the finish line, there may not be any supplements, like there may not be an electrolytes, and there might not be medical. And so what I did see though was an incredible community because
yes,
even though there were, stragglers, there were several of us that continued on our race. And
including like a 70-year-old man who like
yeah,
crossed the finish line right in front of Lynn. And
yeah.
I was just like, serious. We were
What
screaming at
the
the top of our
fuck?
lungs. It was
Yeah.
so cool. Cowbells going off, like
Yeah.
anybody that went by. And even in the first couple kilometers, I do have some videos that I shared. But even in the first couple kilometers, like there was people lining the streets
Yep.
to egg them on. And we didn't at first understand it. And then we did because to have those people at the end, even if they're not your friends or family, when
Yeah.
you cross the finish line, to have people like yelling at you, like
Yeah,
you
I feel
fucking did it.
emotional right now just thinking about it because
Yeah, dude.
it was like I can't go anymore. And then there's these little kids that are just like, you've got this, you've got this. I don't know who they are. There's random people everywhere just saying, like, good luck, keep
They
going,
had
you're
amazing signs
amazing.
out, like they were like chafing the dream,
Yeah.
because there's so much chafing that happens in this.
Yeah.
Like men's nipples bleed very
Yeah.
commonly. Another thing I learned.
Don't
Um,
poo your pants.
fuck you knees. It's just a little. It's just another 40 kilometers was the
Yeah.
one. Like it was incredible and inspiring to see the people who lined up to watch this and to encourage these people. And even us, like we went to the finish line because I had an idea because she had been sending me the kilometers. I had an idea of how long her kilometers were, and she had told me the last one. Her phone died right after 37. She went to go text me 38. The phone died as she pulled her phone out. Um, but I had figured out when she was going to be there. We go, we're standing there waiting, we're screaming at these people, we're encouraging them, and then they're like, okay, the race is over, and all these people are leaving, and we're like, wait, what? Like, where is she? So we like walk a kilometer and a half to try and find her. She's not there. They're like, excuse me, they're like, yeah, she's still probably running. So go back because she'll probably be there. And I was like, okay, we come back, and like within 2 minutes, there we see her. So I like, we're screaming at the top of our lungs. My best friend is like, oh my God, she fucking did it. Now I want to do it. Yeah. We're all yelling and hollering. And she gets there and she is done when she
Mhm.
crosses the finish line. She is done. She gets her medal, which she fucking deserved because that was nutty. And I kept saying it the whole time, you are crazy. This is nutty. I don't know why you would do this to yourself. And then we're in downtown Vancouver, which means you need to try and find parking close enough to her. Luckily, I was able to, because I am like the queen of manifesting parking spots. I was able to manifest a parking spot that was only 600 meters from the end of the line. Now, that 600 meters was probably the worst 600 meters, wasn't it?
Well, it was like on a slight incline too the whole
Uh-huh.
time. And
Uh-huh.
couldn't, I just couldn't walk anymore.
She literally kept saying, how far? How far? How far? How far? I don't know if I can do this anymore. You guys are gonna have to carry me. And I was like, no, come on. Like, let's go. And then I was like, do you see the car? And she was like, oh shit. And then you could see everything in her body just started to shake. And we got her to the car. I opened the back seat because I had it like laid out as a bed because they were like, you need to straighten your legs. We had a 4 hour drive ahead of us and stuff. So I had it all set up as a bed. I stole a pillow, did all the things. She gets there and she like turns around and she's like, I can't even sit. I don't even know what to do with myself. So I like had to like sit her in the car. And then I'm like, give me your foot. She can't even lift her leg up to give me your foot. So I'm like, okay. So I like bend down. I had to take her shoes off, her socks off. I had to take her pants
My
off. Then I'm like, you
pants.
want pants on? She's like, no. I'm like, okay. So I leave her in the back of the car. She's got a blanket covering herself. She is completely fucking drenched from the rain and the run. And luckily, we had stopped to grab some food to eat before we grabbed her, and we were just going to take
Yeah.
her to go eat. And my best friend couldn't eat hers because they took so long to feed us. So she stuck hers in a to go thing. And then Lynn's like, I'm really hungry. And Lindsay's like, yo, do you want this salad? And Lynn was like, yeah, I do. So she chowed the salad down. And then we went and got some coffee and all the things. She needed to pee really badly.
Oh,
But to get her out of the car to go pee was like another
oh.
level.
I was like I was like a 129-year-old
Yeah.
walking all bent over and trying to move. Oh my God.
And it was interesting because literally, like, there's memes everywhere, and I now understand it of like people after a marathon, like stairs after a marathon, walking after a marathon. You could tell the people that had been in the marathon, even if they weren't wearing their shirt, because they literally had a certain walk about them. Like it was a whole nother thing. But it's so interesting because people who otherwise wouldn't even have conversations came together in this community of
Yeah,
marathon runners.
yeah.
And it was such a cool thing to see from the outside.
And the whole time, my mindset of just keep going, like for quite some time, I wanted to stop. There became a time where I could not run anymore. Like my body would not do it. Yet from probably about kilometer 2, I just kept telling myself just 10 more minutes because I 10 and 1 it. Just 10 more minutes, just 10 more minutes. And I would run for 10 more minutes and 10 more minutes. And then I would take
So
my
it
1
wasn't,
minute.
and it had nothing to do with motivation. It had to do with the discipline in your mind
Yep.
of just the next 10 minutes. I just got to do the next 10 minutes and then I'm just going to walk and we'll see where I end up. If I leave, I leave.
And this is like a principle in AA is just for today. Like just for today, I'm not going to drink. And then I'll deal with tomorrow. And so I remember by the time I was on the seawall, it was just like 1 foot in front of the other. Just keep going, just 10 more K, just 10 more K. Because I was no longer running, I was walking. I was just like, just 10 more K. You did this yesterday because we had gone out shopping.
Yep.
And I didn't even wear good shoes. I remember like just thinking, just 10 more K. I did this yesterday, just 10 more K. I'm almost done. Just keep going, 1 foot in front of the other. Like, this was the point now, like this was what was going on in my fucking head. I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this. And I kept visualizing myself crossing the finish line. And I kept thinking, if I got on that fucking bus right now and I didn't get my fucking medal and I just ran 30K, there's no fucking way I am finishing this, bitch. The mindset of just keep going, like just do this, just do what's in front of you, just keep, just 1 more foot, 1 more foot, 1 more foot, 1 more foot the entire time. I cannot tell you how badly I wanted to stop, period. Like I remember thinking like, is this the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life? And how much I can learn from keeping going. Also, like walking the line of, I also was like, I'm never fucking doing this again. This is the stupidest thing that anybody can do in there. Why do people do this? It's
literally
ridiculous.
what she said when she crossed this finish line. Why do people do this? I'm never going to do this again. And I was like, can we talk about this in a few days?
Yeah. I just thought like this is beyond pushing it.
Yeah.
Like I could feel the blisters forming in my shoes as I walked. Now my feet were fucking soaked. I mean, it was cold. So I remember thinking like I had to take my shoe off at one point while I was on the seawall and I had to step up and then put my foot on a bench and that whole thing was just like almost impossible. But like also thinking like this is pushing it beyond. But then
showing yourself what you're really fucking truly capable of. Because even when she finished, she still had to keep walking to get to the car. So even when you thought you were finished,
I ran the last half fucking K when I
Yeah.
felt like there's nothing left here.
Yep.
And I ran the last half K and we were just like encouraging each other. All of us had gone on this fucking journey together to come to this point of like actually finishing. And if I put that towards anything, I mean, at some points when it was really, really hard, like fucking kilometer 38, you know, I'm thinking like, I don't know if this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I feel like I've done harder. I feel like I've gone through more. Like there's times in my life and that is what I remember one time I had a client come and we do ice baths. Fuck, did I ever miss my ice bath?
Yeah.
All I could think of is if I just could sit in the ice bath after this run, that'd be amazing. But she sat in the ice bath and she said it was one of the hardest things she ever did. And while she was sitting there and we were counting down 3 minutes, she kept telling herself, you can do this. You know, your husband died. You know, she went through everything that she's ever been through in her whole entire life and said, this is fucking nothing. It's 3 minutes in freezing cold water. You can do this. And so I remember thinking that while I was trying to like muster up motivation to keep going of like, is this the hardest thing I've ever done? On the last like kilometer, I definitely thought this is the hardest thing I've ever done because I just want to lay down on the ground and give up. And I just kept going. But like in my life, and we just did a podcast and we were talking about finances, and I'm in a place where I'm on the other end, which is really nice too. The things have been hard for 10 months and they weren't super perfect. And financially, they've been a little bit like tight. And so I put that to like just keep going. I could give up. I don't know what I feel like maybe I can't even give up. Like, what
I
would
feel
I
like I was
do?
just gonna say, I feel like when people say I give up, like, well, what does that mean? Because to me, giving up means dying.
Yeah.
Like, what is the option to give up
Yeah.
here? Like, if I give up on all my dreams and all the things, I'd rather be dead. So, what am I giving? How do you actually give up? You
I,
give up and slide back. You don't, and this, it's interesting this came up because my coach literally just said to me yesterday, the guy that wrote the Atomic Habits book, um, did an event and he was at it and he said, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You settle to the level of your standards. So you need to set your standards really high and put yourself to those, because that's where this doing non-negotiables and having 5 things you do every single day to help you get to the place you want to be, showing up for yourself, discipline, persistence, even when you don't want to, because motivation isn't there. That's how you get where you want to be in life. And you literally, like, I would have fucking, I feel like I was complaining because we were walking 15 kilometers a day, you guys. Like, my back hurt. I didn't want to do it anymore. We did 45 kilometers of walking in the 3 days that we were there. And I will tell you that I was miserable. And I got to sleep in between and I got to do all these other things. Now, this bitch ran all of that in one day plus some. Like, wait, what? And this is why, though, it's so important to have something behind it as to why she was doing it, because she needed to cross the finish line. There was
yeah.
a goal she needed to accomplish.
Yeah.
If it wasn't as important to her, she wouldn't have finished it. She wouldn't have followed through with it. She would have just gotten on the bus at 30K and said, okay, I'm done. That was fun. Thanks. Like, I wouldn't have even made it that far because I wouldn't have had a purpose behind it. But you had something that pushed you through.
You know, what's funny in that is like, I decided that day with Joan, since I was young, I wanted to run a marathon just to fucking do it. That's it. Not because I love running. Now I do love running. It's the funniest thing. Like, that's it. But I remember thinking I would like to get on the bus. Like, clearly, I just ran 30K. I'm fucking done. I'm done. And here's the bus. And I would like to get on it because it's warm. Because then by then it was fucking raining and it was just like, it was not the coolest. But I thought, but then I'll have to do this again.
Again. Yes,
Because
I
the
set a goal.
goal
I have to
is to
accomplish
run
it.
a fucking marathon, not run 30K. It's to run a marathon. So I just did all this for nothing, and I'm gonna have to do it again. No fucking way. I'm
Yeah.
doing this now. And I remember thinking, Lindsay's here and she's got kids, and now she's gonna be late because I'm fucking late. Like, I'm supposed to finish this marathon in 6 hours. I did it in 6 hours and 40 minutes. So
Yep.
now she's gonna be late because of me, and then now they're probably upset. I should just give up. And then Meridee, she came all this way. I should probably just stop because I'm taking up everybody's time. And I was like, Colynn, fuck, man, you're fucking 4.5 hours in and you're just gonna be like, oh, okay, let's be done.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to upset anybody.
But
Like,
also, there was, in my mind, even with the knee thing, I have to say that there was never, because I know you so well, there was never a moment that I was like, she's not going to finish the marathon.
oh,
The
really?
only way that I knew you wouldn't finish the marathon is if probably an ambulance was taking you away.
This is what
Literally.
Joan and Rafa both said, is like, you really scared me because it just stopped and I knew you wouldn't stop unless you were badly hurt.
Yeah. Yes. And so that was the other thing. So Rafa ended up messaging me and being like, have you had communication? I'm like, her phone is dying. She's keeping in touch with me because I got to find her after this. I will keep you on the thing. As soon as I got her, I FaceTimed him and was like, yo, do you see her? She couldn't hold her hands up, so she wasn't FaceTiming him. So I was like, do you see her? He was like, you fucking ran a marathon. And it was just awesome. And then I was like, okay, I got to get her in the car and do all the things. And she ended up calling him later. It was really interesting because she's sitting there going, I don't think I ever want to do this again. And I was like, let's talk about this later. I don't think now's a good time, because after anything like that, you're going to say, I'm fucking out. But then she was like, okay, so I'm now starting to feel that euphoria. She's like, I'm in a different place right now. I got her some coffee. So she drank her Tim Hortons, which she never gets. So she got to drink her coffee. I'm not even joking, you guys. She had a coffee, and like 20 minutes later, when it's supposed to kick in, she was like,
Pass the
in the back of the
fuck
car.
out.
For like 2 hours, she slept and had a deep sleep.
Yeah.
And then we got home and she had to sleep in my bed because she couldn't climb the stairs. So this leads us to the consequences and the celebrations of the goals we set. Consequences being, one, no running for 26 days.
Yep.
Two, her feet and ankles and knees are fucked up right now, swollen. Like, now that being said, I have Epsom salts. She's been soaking in those. And when she does, she comes out and she can do 10 times more than she did before she got in. So definitely use the Epsom salts if this is something you guys are thinking about.
Yeah.
But the consequences are that like she has needed assistance to do almost everything. And not that I'm complaining, because I am happy to take care of her after she just did something so nutty. Now imagine if both of us were doing it, we'd have to hire a nurse or something to come take care of us. Lindsay's gonna have to come stay here when you run your next one, because I'm gonna be like taking care of y'all.
Yeah.
But there's consequences to the things that we do, and there's consequences for the things we didn't. So if we want to talk about that in a really brief conversation, my coach has said to me, like what you just said, basically the consequence of me finishing at 30 kilometers is I got to do this again because I set a goal. So I've made it this far. If I give up, I still have to do it again. That's a consequence. My coach has just made me set, and I hate this, it makes me so uncomfortable. If I don't hit my financial goal of making the amount of money monthly that I want to make by next February, all of the things that I get as a reward or a celebration for accomplishing those are now put off for 3 years. And I was like, you want me to do what? No. And he's like, the consequences push you to make sure you do the things to accomplish, which is exactly what you just said. At 30K, I'm gonna have to fucking do this again. So I'm just gonna finish this. I'm more than halfway there. I'm in. I'm all in. Here I go.
I just
And
trained for a
then
fucking year
yes,
to be like, oh yeah, I'm tired.
I think I'm done. Marathons aren't meant to be fucking easy, you guys. But this is also such a beautiful example of how life works. You going through what you just went through, those last 10K are the last 10 months of your life that you've just had that have been so fucking hard, challenging, difficult. You want to give up. What do you do next? I don't even know. I'm depressed. I have all these things going on. My money's not great. I'm getting tired of all the things I'm currently doing, yada, yada, yada. Literally playing out in the last 10 kilometers of your marathon race. And then you finish it. And now there's all these celebrations that you get to have. I fucking did it. I fucking finished it, even with so many opportunities to give up. The universe showed me I could give up. I didn't.
Do you
It gave
know,
you,
do you
sorry, go ahead.
know what percentage of the population has run a marathon?
I'm going to say less than 1%.
0.01% of the population of the world has run a marathon before.
I believe it. That is a big feat, like a huge feat. So there's consequences that come with all of the actions that we take, and there's celebrations we get for the actions we take. So keep this whole thing in your mind when it comes to the goals you've set. Imagine that you literally are running a marathon. You're not doing the 5Ks.
No.
You're not doing the 10Ks. You are running a 40K marathon. Maybe you're even running an Ironman or a triathlon. You are running the big race, and it's your life. Now, yes, you're going to have to run some short races in order to get to that place. But there's consequences, there's celebrations, there's community. You get to learn so fucking much about yourself. Like the conversations Lynn and I have had since she did it and the things she's learned about herself are incredible. Opportunities to give up are always gonna fucking show up no matter what you do. So choosing your battles and understanding that in your entire life, motivation is a feeling, which means it comes, it goes, it is not sticking around. So it's going to come down to discipline and persistence in getting what you want. So when you write out what you want, think it fucking through, because if you want to run a 43K marathon, you're going to have to run a 43K marathon.
Yeah. That's it.
It's crazy. And I'm so fucking proud of you, man. That was
Wow.
nutty. Again, I'm going to say I would never do it. Watch 10 years. You're going to have me run the fucking with you. But it is nutty to me in all of the things. Because first of all, I don't like cardio. But second, you just ran 43K. That is nutty. What the fuck were you thinking? And yet you did it. And you fucking finished it, even though you wanted to die. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yes.
On this episode of Spiritual Sisters with Sass. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys comment below how proud you are of Lynn and what she has accomplished, because this is fucking crazy. And we will see you guys next week.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. Two sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colynn and Meridee Hlokoff, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.